Hola, this is Kelly, aka Buffy Python, and today we are going to be playing Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. I absolutely love this game. Had it since I want to say I was about 12 when I got this game, and I've played it off and on a few different times as the years have gone by. I don't really replay games a whole lot, but I actually have replayed this one, and just because it's really fun. And so, wanted to share it with Yuns. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Here we go. Lord of the Rings. I'm not exactly sure what the Third Age is in terms of that, but we got some different options here. Got your more evil mode we will show you much later. I'm putting the subtitles on. I don't figure that'll be too big of an issue with anybody. Just because, I'll be talking over all this shit and want to make sure everybody can hear. I've been playing on medium. I don't think I've ever played this on hard. I'm sure I've played it on easy, but it's not the most difficult game in the universe, so medium shouldn't be a huge problem. So we're going to start off a new game. I don't know what that says. I really wish I knew. It almost looks like it says Tolkien in the middle, but it probably doesn't, and I'm just full of shit, but, it looks cool.
The world of Middle-earth is changing.
So here's one thing that I absolutely love about this game. They got Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen, I apologize, to do voices for this. And not just voices, he narrates everything on it. And he narrates all the stuff, and it's newly written things, it's not just things from the books. And they could have easily just, taken clips of people talking from the movies and used that, but they didn't. And so I commend him for that, and he's not phoning it in. I don't know that he can phone it in. He's a pretty good actor. So they just got him to do that, and he does a lot of these. There's going to be a lot of these things here that are interspersed through the game. They're called scenes, and they're basically just kind of clips of different parts of the movies, the three different movies. This was before The Hobbit, obviously. And they basically just kind of tell some of the backstory. Because this game it's not like any of the other Lord of the Rings games that I've seen, at least, except for maybe like that newest one. I think it's Battle, what is it? It's the really new one where, I'm gonna date this, where you can like fight against different orc armies and then they gain in ranks. But anyway, it's not like that in terms of, you're not playing like, oh, here's Aragorn and you're running around as Aragorn. You're these completely, I wouldn't even say tertiary characters, because they're not from the novels at all, or the movies. They're just these other people, other men and elves and dwarves, and they're doing stuff. And it's related, obviously, to, the War of the Rings and everything like that, but they're not actually those characters. And you get to play a little bit as Aragorn and people like that at certain special times, but it's not strictly to them. You get a cudgel! You get a cudgel! I love that. I did kind of think it was a little odd when I was watching this, in the movie, too, where, Sauron's like, he's this big badass, he's just flipping people left and right, and then his figure just comes off like, boom, that's it. Like, I don't know. Just something I thought about. I don't know.
Isildur, ruler of all free men.
Isildur is just, he's just shit tier. Look at that. What is that?
But he became weak, and the line of men failed.
And then the low production value orcs came out and killed him. His men really sucked. For like the ruler of all free men, didn't exactly protect the king too well, but whatevs. It was a small band of orcs.
Things that should not have been forgotten were lost.
It's got some good writing in this too. I really like the writing in here. It's very, I don't know. It goes along with the books and the way people talk in there, that, really high language, so I like that. Ooh, there we go. It's very different from him later on. That's good ring. It's kind of weird there. I don't know what exactly he looks like, but it doesn't look like he does when he's actually in the movie.
Thus the third age of Middle-earth began.
I don't know what exactly the second or first age were. I'm not up on the lore by any means. I've watched the movies several times, and I read through Fellowship. I read the first book and part of the second book, and that was years ago, so I don't remember the lore all too well. I feel like Elrond is just constantly done with people. He's just like, no. Like, what are you all doing? Like, stop it. He just has this look of, like, I cannot believe these fuckers. Like, he really feels like that.
There, at the Council of Elves, a great and desperate plan was conceived. Join us in our quest. Face the power of Mordor, and help to turn the tide. Welcome, warrior.
So I think that the production value of this is pretty good. You know, it's a PS2 game. It's not going to look fantastic, but it's good enough. Serves it.
This I sense with all my heart.
Now, I don't really know why Gandalf is talking like, oh, look at this guy, isn't he cool? Because, I mean, it's not like they really act like they know each other too well. So I don't know. They just trust this dude for some reason.
Stand aside, creature.
So here we have Vanilla Makiro Man, you know, the protagonist. He's I mean, I love the game, but he's not exactly the most interesting character. He's not, I don't know. He's just kind of bland. There's a little bit of development later on where I'm like, oh, okay, he's a little interesting, but not so much. So I'm gonna taunt these guys because I'm never going to do that again. This will be the only time you will see that because I don't really see it being beneficial at all. But so yeah, let's see what this does. Also, this is one of those fights where it's like, you are not going to win no matter what. Like, you are designed to lose, so why not taunt them and then die? You know, it's fun. So yeah, this is an RPG. I am actually not a fan of RPGs. I have played most of Final Fantasy X, didn't finish it, and I wasn't the hugest fan of it, and now people will kill me. But I don't know why it is I like this per se. Probably just because I like Lord of the Rings itself better. I like that, whole world. So here's my gal, Idriel, performing a tactic that she will not do until very end of the game. Doesn't remember this immediately after, so not really sure why. It's kind of forgetful, I guess. You got your water horses, or hippopotamus, I believe is the word for that.
What grace has been given to me, let it pass to him. Let him be spared. To you I bestow this gift of my people.
Let me give you the gift of my people.
Soul and binds the hearts of others.
I don't really know what it is that the elves do when they do that. Like they can just magically heal people of whatevs. I don't really know how that works.
What favor might I grant you?
There is no time. Hurry, we must find your equipment and heal your wounds.
Didn't you just heal my wounds? What was that then? So here we go. You get a little map. Not the most descriptive map in the world, but it's, it serves. There's a lot of times where I just go around, and if you see me bump into stuff a lot, it's because I'll kind of try to use the map more so than anything else, just because it's easier to see, oh, okay, that's where I am in relation to everything. It's easy to get lost. So yeah, that's one of those scenes. You get those periodically as you fight certain battles or come across certain areas. You'll get those. What I'm gonna do, I'm not actually going to, reach each of those or, play them all until the very end of the section or the video, and then I'm just going to cram a whole bunch at the end. If anybody wants me to do those as they appear, let me know, but they're not essential. Like, you could go through this whole game and not do that. So here's some of your stats. You get strength, you get spirit, you get all that stuff. You can move people around like little mannequins. You get all your equipment, and you get new equipment as time goes on. You don't buy it, you just find them in chests, but and certain ones have different, abilities and whatnot. You got your skills, you know, your different actions and things you can build up, a little skill tree going on. And, you know, as it branches off, you know, it's not too complicated. I'm going to try to get as many of these as I possibly can. I won't guarantee I'll get everything, though, because some of them are just not useful. So I'll try to grind a little bit. So you get your different chapters of things, and for right now, we can... I don't know why we can see East Moria, because that's not even the next section. Here's the scenes that, you know, we'll be showing off later. There's a whole bunch of them. I think 109 it said. And you can do co-op. I actually did not realize this until playing through this, so I could have very well had Jamie on this, but she has never played RPGs to my knowledge, and she's not a fan of Lord of the Rings per se, so why not? Do it myself. I can take care of it. Share the load and whatnot. So yeah, we're spinning Idriel around. Idriel's my favorite character. Not necessarily because she has more character than Barithor, because she doesn't really. I mean, she's about the same. But she's just more powerful. I'm always a fan of the magic user in whatever it is that I'm playing. And she is, like... Basically, there's no reason not to have her on the team at any point. Like, there's pretty much never a reason, because even if she can't actually... You know, like, even if the enemy is weak against... or strong against magic, or spirit, or what have you... You know, they're gonna... She can heal people, she can do all these different things, and as time goes on, she gets better and better skills. So yeah, some of the chests, like, there's no enemies around. Most of the time, you're not gonna actually see, like, oh hey, there's a bunch of orcs running at me. It's just, you run around and then all of a sudden, boom, orcs. So there's how you equip things. And as you equip things, if you're, you know, if you have that certain character out and they're running around, you'll see the different things out there. And so I'm going to switch to Idriel. There really isn't a lot of reason to switch the character per se. I like looking at Idriel. She's nice. Nice to look at. But so, if you, like, complete certain quests and you have that certain person running around, they'll get the experience for it. And it's never a lot of experience to where it's like, oh, it's, you know, so beneficial to have them out. But it's cumulative, I guess, so it's got to help out something. And she has some of the better skills, in my opinion, anyway. I like to think that the monsters throw a whole bunch of leaves on you as they jump out. You know, they're just like, surprise! So I'm going to show off some of Idriel's sword craft. Now, Idriel, I'm not going to use the sword stuff too much, because, I mean, she's got magic, and her magic is way better and stronger, and there's just really no reason to not use that. And plus, there's a lot of other characters that have swords and axes and melee weapons like that, so why not use magic? Because most of the others don't have a whole lot in the way of magic, at least not as much as she does. So yeah, your character gets a little... you know, animation, you get your experience, you get some, you know, treasure sometimes. It could be either little items, or it could be actual, you know, pieces of armor and whatnot. You got your action points like you do in any RPG, you know, what you use and spend to use your certain, you know, moves. I like the scenery in this game. I mean, it's not the most varied thing in the world. This isn't, you know, Skyrim, but I don't expect it to be. It's from, like, 2003. But it just looks good, and it you know, evokes the movie. It feels like you're in these different areas. So yeah, you run around, but yeah, I'm not going to use her sword stuff that much. Reason being that, I mean, you do have to use it a bit, though. That's the thing. Because there are sections where, you know, you'll have a monster that is, or, you know, or a character, enemy that's, you know, invulnerable to, you know, magic or something like that. Or, I keep saying magic, it's spirit, really, is what they call it. But that's basically what it is. And there are certain characters that are enemies that are, you know, invulnerable to that. But you still want to have her out to heal people, or to make people stay alive. And so, if you got her out there, you need to use something. And there are certain cases where you only have her. There's a particular section of the game which I'm not a huge fan of, where you kind of have to do that, and if you don't have any kind of sword moves for her, besides that first one you get, Fluid Strike, you're shit out of luck, or it's going to be really hard to get past that part. You just have to kind of wing it, and do it a bunch of times until you somehow eke out a victory. There's a whole lot of different paths in a lot of these places. Like, you can go down, like, separate little optional paths and get different items, and I'm certainly going to get, you know, all the items I can possibly get. If there's a chest and I can find it, I'll get it. You know, I'm trying to 100% this. But yeah, running around. I don't really know why they say there's a north per se. I guess maybe to help orient yourself, but it's not really necessary. So yeah, some of the chests just magically, you know, produce orcs, give birth to orcs, or what have you. I always like the idea of RPGs where people are just kind of standing out there and just kind of waiting, like, no, it's your turn, go ahead. So yeah, you can use items either in battle or out of battle. No real benefit to either. I mean, obviously if you use it out of battle, you know, you don't have to take a turn to use it in battle. So Barathor's got these, what they're called leadership things. Basically what they do is they, you know, they're basically boosts. You know, they help people with attacks, or they help people to evade more, things like that. And each time that you use the skill, you can see it says +1 SP spirit powers. So each time that you use the skill, it gives you 1 point towards, you know, being able to get a new skill, whatever skill you've selected as your next one. And so there are some times where, you know, even, that's why a lot of the time I don't use attack, just plain old attack, too much. I'm using it here just to kind of show you what it looks like. But I don't use it by itself that much just because it's not that useful. And, you know, it doesn't get you any points towards anything. And so the only time I really use it is, like, I have no action points and I have, like, little health, and I'm like, I just need to kill this guy, that's it. And so most of the time that's not going to happen. So he's got his little animation too. Not going to see his face for much of it, because we get a helm for him pretty quickly, and then, I mean, there's no point to not have the helm on. More Lembas bread. Alright, so you level them up. You know, you get different points, and you can put them towards things. Pretty much all of the characters you want to put points into all of these, and I try to keep them pretty even with everything. You got your dexterity, obviously, helps you, you know, with defense. Constitution, that's basically your health. You know, speed increases your defense, and, you know, there's less time between your attacks. Strength is obviously, you know, melee damage. And spirit is your action points, and if you have a character that has spirit attacks, you use spirit. Now for Idril, I'm gonna, you know, basically not do much with her strength. I'm gonna put a little into it though, because again, in those sections where you need to use her sword, if you don't have any strength at all in there, you're dead, that's it. You know, because enemies get progressively harder as the game goes on. I don't know who that dude's supposed to be, because when I first saw him, I was thinking, oh, okay, that's, you know, a reference to The Hobbit, you know, where all the trolls turned into, you know, stone, but it's just one troll. And then later on, you see 3 trolls,
I heard a voice.
So I don't know.
On the road.
Yes, I know.
Who could it?
Patience.
I'm looking for Boromir of Gondor. Have you seen him?
No. But I do see orcs ahead.
I just love that Barathor keeps going with her. Like, I don't really know why he's following along. Like, what was he doing in the first place? He's just kind of traipsing around, like, well, I'll help the Fellowship, I guess. And then he just kind of decides to go with her, but then he's still pissed at her, like, hey, where's, you know, Sean Bean? Sean Bean. I'm not personally a huge fan of bodies just disappearing in games like that. Like, it's fine. It's not a big thing. I'm really crapping on this game, aren't I? I mean, like, I love the game, I really do, and I'm just crapping on it right now. But whatever. I mean, it's still a great game. So yeah, there you go. You learn some more skills. Got Orc Bane coming up, so you get your different skills as time goes on. I do like that they kept the music from the movies in this as well. I mean, obviously that must not have been too hard to get hold of, but I just like the music. You know, it's great music, and they use it in good ways. You know, it still sounds like music that's appropriate for a game like that. Doesn't feel out of place. And the same thing goes for dexterity with Idriel as with strength, is that, you know, you don't want to put points in it, you hate putting points in it because, you know that you're not going to use it that much, just for those very few times when it's like, I have to use this. And I know that people will be saying, well, surely you're going to get more party members later on, so why couldn't you just, during that part when you can't use any, magic, just switch it out, but you can't. Like, you cannot switch people out at that point. You're just stuck with whoever it is. And I'm not going to give away, what it is that happens, but you're stuck, and you have to use her. And you basically cannot use magic, or at least not too much.
Inside, Gondorian. Your wounds must be healed.
Weapons.
I like that this is their stronghold,
Provisions.
but, like, she's pretty
The
much
elves
the only
are very
person here. Like, you see, like, one or two
Long
other
have we
people,
kept
and that's
such
about
way
it.
stations for times of great need.
I am Berethor, captain of the Citadel Guard of Gondor.
And I am Idriel. I serve Galadriel, Lady of Light. Take what you need, and let us be on our way.
The quest journal, I'm guessing that just means the... Because there isn't anything called quest journal, but I'm assuming that just means where you get quests. At the very beginning here, the sort of tutorial, if you will, it describes a lot of things well after you would have used them. Like items in battle mode, or chests, or things like that. Or I think chest is actually at a good time, but like, oh, you can change weapons. And it's like, I know that. Like, I've got, like, 2 weapons by now. I do also like that it tells you right away, do you have new equipment? So you don't have to go looking around and you're like, oh shit, what was it that I got? Was it a sword? Was it a pauldron? Whatever it is.
Craven spies.
Crabane from Dunland.
Those crows seem guided by some fell purpose.
It is the hand of Isengard. The White
You know
Wizard
those
has
crows are
betrayed us.
driven by a fell purpose. They're freaking crows. Those crows look nasty. See, the chests do glow, which is very nice, because if they didn't, this would be, like, nearly impossible, but you have to get kind of close to them for them to glow, so sometimes I'm going to be running around and looking just really stupid, but I just want to make sure I get everything. So I don't know much about, like I said, about the books of Lord of the Rings. I still wish that they would do more stuff related to that. Like, I know I've heard of the Silmarillion. I haven't read it. I'm not really sure what it's about. I just know it's about things prior to, the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit per se, and the timeline. But I really wish that they would do those too, just because, I love this world. The whole, universe that Tolkien made was just brilliant, and I really wish that they would do more with that. And I'm sure they will, because, it's made them a shit ton of money, so there's no point that they shouldn't.
Orcs are amongst them.
There are too many. They have no chance.
That is what they have
Help me defend
got.
them.
Why do I want to pay for that scum? It should be free. Yeah, see, so that would Fury, after seeing her, trampling people with horses made of water and, like, a giant deluge, like, why is it just she just shoots a little, water gun squirt at them after that? Like, Idriel, you wanna use that again, or, no? You did a pretty good job last time. These chieftain dudes, like, chieftains for orcs or goblins or whatever, I hate them they are just so annoying. Like, you want to kill them, like, before anybody else, if at all possible. So these are some of the effect things that you get where it's like, you know, either it, you know, basically poisons you. I don't think they call it poison, though. Or things like that, weakens you, stuff like that. And right now we don't really have any of the, you know, attacks that are going to do that, where it's like, oh, that's gonna, you know, kill you, or that's gonna, you know, weaken you, or something like that. But as time goes on, we're gonna get more of those and have more of this going on. Also here, I'm just kind of trying to use it a little bit, just get some points into it. I do like that if you shoot somebody with an arrow, that it stays in them. They're not like, maybe I should get this out, you know, it probably isn't doing great just kind of sitting there, you know. At least break the end off of it. Like, I know you probably shouldn't just yank it out in the middle of battle, but at least, you know, something else to, you know, stick out there. I feel like some of the naming on this could have been better. Orc shot, orc slash. Orc shot! Kind of like the Barathor looks like he's just bitch slapping them with the sword. Like, he's not actually attacking, just like, meh. Like, Barathor, you want to stop doing that? Like, there's people around here. It's dangerous. There's a weapon there.
They will trouble you no longer.
Yeah, I got that.
You have found him.
What do you mean by that?
It is nothing. Hasten to Rivendell. I have cleared the road for you.
I am grateful, but you must return now to the passes. We saw evidence of recent battle there.
Okay, why weren't you there then, bitch?
Some may still survive.
Yeah, see, like this, it's like, oh hey, here's leveling up. It's like, I've already leveled up. I know what that is. So I'm going to show the leveling up, for the most part, just because I want to show what it looks like. There will be times, I'm going to cut out any time that I'm using items outside of battle, just because there's no point in showing it. So if you see, oh, there's a big discrepancy, you had 200 health, now you have 600, well, I just didn't want to include it. I don't really care that much. It's taking up time. Now there will be times when you get items, and you get a new item, and it's actually shittier than the current item that you have. And I don't really know why they do that exactly. Like, I guess just if you want to do it purely out of a design standpoint, because there are some times where you'll get an item and it's like, this is better, but I look really weird now. Like, I'm wearing this nice fancy armor, and I have, like, this blood-soaked, you know, blade of Orthanc or something, and it's like, you know, this looks really weird, but I don't know. I don't really care about the aesthetics of it so much. So these are some wild men. I know that they're in the movies a very little bit, like I know Saruman talks to them. I don't know what they actually do. Like, I don't know why they're wild, I don't know if they like have an actual culture or not, like, I don't know, they're very strange. Like, they're just like, whatevs, we're not gonna live in cities, we're just gonna run around and just attack people. I guess they're like Vikings almost. Well, Vikings had towns though, I don't know what they're on. I like the way they run back. It just looks adorable. They're just like... Wildmen actually kind of remind me of some people who live around me. I live in West Virginia, so, you know, that kind of stuff doesn't want to happen. Pretty sure I had a bus driver who looked identical to one of them. Well, I mean, not with the sword or whatever the heck that is. Giant metal hook. So the music in the battles, too, is different, you know, for every time. And not every time, but, you know, they change it up a bit, and that's good. Because if it was the same music even for every area, eventually, especially if you're grinding or something, it would be really annoying. But they're good, they kind of changed it up a bit. And I think they even changed it up a little bit with, you know, when you win, too. You know, you have different music, so it's not just the same crap every time. And of course, it's great music, too. So you're not like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. There are some parts around here where I had to do some cuts, and like that. That's pretty dang obvious. But basically what it was is I got one of the bands of Wild Men, and then there were 2 other bands that I had to get, and I didn't find them. Like, I happened to go to a place where I guess you can't get past anymore, and I just didn't find them. So I had to go back later. So I might be wearing some different stuff, and if you notice here, we have 2 new people that you have not met yet. So just ignore these guys for now, because they're, they'll be there eventually. We cut a few feet off of Barathor, so, you know, got him a beard. That's how he does. But yeah, so just kind of pretend these guys aren't here for now. You can't like choose to have just 2 people. Like, once you have 3 or more people in the party, you have to have 3 people. But so yeah, she's wearing different stuff. But so I had to go back and do it. There's a lot of the quests you don't have to do. Like, you certainly don't have to 100% this game. Not even just with getting all of the items, but getting all the quests. And so, this is one of the quests you don't have to do at all. You don't have to mess with Wild Men whatsoever. But if you want 100% it, you do. So that's what I did. I just went ahead and came back and got them. And, you know, there's some benefits to it. I don't know what I was doing here, so just kind of wait a bit. There we go. I managed to cut out most of the chaff, but not so much, I guess. Anyway, la 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 la. It's boring, but it's my life. I gotta say the elves are doing a pretty shitty job, because we're getting wild men, we're getting orcs. I'm guessing the orcs and wild men aren't, like, joining up or anything. That's kind of I do like the noise that the wild men make. So yeah, once again, you know, pretend he isn't there. You know, Idriel just decided to take on everybody like a boss. So yeah. So yeah, we took care of that. And again, shitty cut, back to crappier clothes, and we lost those 2 people. They just jumped in for a second and left. But so yeah, that is one of those Eyes of Sauron. You got 2 different things for when enemies show up. There's little Eye of Sauron, and then there's also that little Palantir. You know, that big glowy ball that I believe it was Pippin grabbed onto and was all crazy about. But yeah, they both basically mean the same thing. It just means, hey, people are going to attack you. I believe the Palantir means that it's like, hey, this is like a scripted sort of battle. Whereas with the Eye of Sauron, it's like, hey, you're running around this certain area that has, you know, it's kind of like the grass in Pokemon, you know, when you're playing that. And it's just kind of like, hey, there could be some Pokemon here. Except they're orcs. I wish that you could capture orcs in Pokeballs. That would be awesome. Picturing Uruk-hai coming out of a Pokeball. Uruk-hai, I choose you!